Have you ever been humiliated so badly that your stomach twisted, your face burned, and you replayed the moment for weeks? Maybe it was a cruel joke in front of your friends, a boss clowning you in a meeting, or even family members taking shots at you during dinner. We've all been there, and most people crumble under that kind of pressure. But what if I told you that humiliation doesn't have to destroy you? What if, instead, you could stand tall, smile through it, and walk away more respected than the one who tried to embarrass you? That's exactly what I'm breaking down today. Powerful ways to stay unshaken when people try to humiliate you. By the way, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, self-improvement, and navigating life with wisdom, you'll love my free newsletter. Every Sunday, I share powerful lessons, controversial truths, and practical strategies to help you level up, all for free. 1. Know the difference between playful teasing and malicious humiliation. One of the biggest traps people fall into is confusing teasing with humiliation. And I'll be real with you, if you can't tell the difference, you'll spend half your life overreacting to harmless jokes and the other half letting people walk all over you. Both mistakes make you look weak. Here's the controversial truth. Not every joke is an attack, but not every joke is innocent either. Some people tease you because they love you. Others tease you because they want to chip away at your confidence while pretending it's all fun and games. If you don't learn to tell the difference, you either become the uptight guy nobody wants to be around, or the punching bag who never stands up for himself. Playful teasing is part of life. Friends roast each other, siblings crack jokes, even partners sometimes poke fun. Done in the right spirit, teasing strengthens bonds. It's a way of saying, I know you, I see you, and I'm comfortable enough to joke with you. Malicious humiliation, on the other hand, is poison. It's designed to shrink you, to embarrass you, to establish dominance. The problem is, some people disguise humiliation as just a joke. That's where things get tricky. Look at intent. A real friend's tease makes you laugh too. Malicious humiliation makes only them laugh while you feel small. Check the context. Playful teasing usually happens in private or safe settings. Malicious humiliation happens in public because the goal is to embarrass you in front of others. Watch the pattern. If someone always jokes about your insecurities, your failures, or things you clearly don't like, bro, that's not playful, that's targeted humiliation. Let me tell you about a time I got this completely wrong. Back in university, I had a friend group that loved roasting each other. We'd sit around, crack jokes about each other's haircuts, fashion, even grades. It was all laughs. But then there was this one guy, let's call him Eric. Eric was different. He would wait for the crowd, then make jokes about me being broke, about how I was never going to land a good job, even about my family situation. Everybody laughed, and I laughed too, pretending I was cool with it. But deep down, it burned. One day, I snapped. I blew up on him in front of everyone. The room went silent. Some of my real friends pulled me aside and said, "Bro, why'd you go off like that? We were just joking." That's when I realized I had let Eric blur the line. He was humiliating me, not teasing me. But because I never drew the line early, I ended up exploding and looking like the emotional one. Here's the lesson. When you confuse humiliation for teasing, you either let snakes into your circle, or you drive good friends away by overreacting. Don't be hypersensitive. If every little joke wounds you, you'll live in misery. Learn to laugh at yourself. It makes you more human and approachable, but don't let disrespect slide. When someone constantly makes jokes that hit your deepest insecurities, Don't let it pass as banter, call it out early. Respond with humor when it's playful. If your boys tease you about your haircut, clap back with a joke of your own. That's how you show confidence. Respond with calm authority when it's malicious. If someone tries to humiliate you in front of others, don't explode. Look them in the eye and say, "That's cute. Are you done?" Nothing crushes a bully faster than calmness. Know your boundaries. Not everyone earns the right to joke with you. A lifelong friend teasing your shirt is different from a stranger mocking your life. As men, we're taught to take a joke. And yes, part of masculinity is not being overly sensitive. But here's the deeper truth. Part of masculinity is also knowing your boundaries. A man who laughs at every insult isn't strong, he's spineless. A man who gets angry at every joke isn't strong either, he's fragile. The real strength, being able to stand in the middle, laugh when it's playful, stand firm when it's malicious. Know when to let it roll off your back, and when to plant your feet and say, "Enough." Because life will test you. People will test you. And if you can't tell the difference between playful teasing and humiliation, you'll either lose your friends or lose your dignity. Neither is a win. So here's the takeaway. Learn the art of discernment. Don't be the guy who sulks at every joke. Don't be the guy who lets himself be disrespected in the name of banter. Be the guy who knows the difference and responds with confidence, humor, and calm strength. That's how you stay unshaken. 2. Realize humiliation is about them, not you. Here's a controversial truth. Most people don't want to accept when someone humiliates you. It's almost never about you. It's about them, their insecurities, their fears, their desperate need to feel powerful. But here's the problem. Most of us don't believe that in the moment. We think humiliation is a reflection of our worth, like it confirms the worst things we secretly believe about ourselves. Somebody mocks your looks. You immediately think, "Damn, maybe I really am ugly." Somebody laughs at your mistakes. You think, "Maybe I really am a screw-up." And that's exactly how humiliation traps you. It convinces you that the attack is proof of your weakness, when in reality, it's proof of their weakness. Let's break it down. People who are secure in themselves have no need to humiliate others. They don't gain anything from it. Confident people uplift. They don't tear down. But insecure people, they feed on humiliation the way parasites feed on blood. It gives them a temporary high. Humiliation is basically cheap currency. It costs the other person nothing but gives them a fake sense of power for a moment. That's why bullies do it. That's why arrogant bosses do it. That's why insecure friends do it. They're not showing you your flaws, they're exposing theirs. Let me tell you a story from my own life. A few years ago, I was in a work meeting, presenting an idea I had spent weeks putting together. In the middle of my presentation, one guy, let's call him David, leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said, "Wow, did you come up with this in kindergarten?" The whole room laughed. For a split second, my chest tightened. My brain screamed, "They think you're stupid. They think your work is worthless." But here's where it gets interesting. Later, I found out David was under pressure himself. His own project had just flopped, and the higher-ups were questioning his competence. His jab at me wasn't about me. It was about him needing to distract the room from his own failures. That day, I realized something powerful. Humiliation is usually just projection. People project their insecurities onto you, hoping it will make them feel lighter. Pause and reframe. The next time someone humiliates you, don't internalize it. Instead, ask yourself, What's going on with them that made them need to do this? That simple reframe takes the sting away. Don't bite the hook. Remember, humiliation is bait. If you react emotionally, you validate their attempt. Stay calm, keep your composure. That's how you win. Flip the perspective. Instead of thinking, they humiliated me, think, they just revealed their insecurity. Trust me, this shift changes everything. Respond with grace or silence. Nothing exposes someone's weakness faster than you refusing to be rattled. They expect rage or shame. Give them calmness. The day you realize humiliation is never really about you, you unlock a type of freedom most men never reach. Suddenly, insults don't sting. Public embarrassment doesn't cripple you, because deep down, you know, this isn't a mirror of me, it's a mirror of them. Think about it. If a random drunk guy on the street yells, "You're a loser," do you take it personally? Of course not. Why? Because you know he's drunk, insecure, irrelevant. Now apply that same principle to every attempt at humiliation. As men, our pride is heavy. We're taught to defend it at all costs. That's why humiliation cuts so deep. It feels like someone just stripped our masculinity in public. But here's the truth. A real man doesn't let another man's words define him. Strength isn't snapping back with a harder insult. Strength isn't throwing punches. Strength is being able to stand tall, smirk, and think, "Brother, your attempt to humiliate me just told me everything about you and nothing about me." When you understand that, you become unshakable. You stop being a puppet controlled by other people's opinions. You start owning your frame, your presence, your masculinity. So remember this, humiliation is never really about you. It's a confession of the other person's weakness. The next time someone tries to put you down, don't shrink, don't explode. Just smile and think, "Thank you for revealing yourself," because in that moment, you're not the one being humiliated. They are. 3. Remember, the world forgets fast. Here's the cold, hard truth. You are not as important as you think you are. That might sting, but it's also your greatest freedom. When you get humiliated, whether it's a slip of the tongue, a dumb mistake, or someone roasting you in public, you think the whole world is replaying that moment on loop. Spoiler alert, they're not. Most people aren't sitting at home, obsessing over your humiliation. They're too busy obsessing over their own. They've got bills, insecurities, deadlines, breakups, acne, loneliness, and their own embarrassing memories to worry about. You think they're still talking about that one time you tripped in front of your boss. Bro, they forgot before lunch. The human brain is egocentric. We live inside our heads, so our humiliations feel huge to us. It's like carrying a backpack full of shame. You feel the weight every second. But to everyone else, you're just another dude with a backpack in a crowd. They don't notice, they don't care. But here's the controversial part. Sometimes we want people to keep remembering because it gives us an excuse to play the victim. We keep saying, "They'll never forget what I did," when really, we're the ones who won't let go. That's not strength, that's self-sabotage. Let me embarrass myself for a second. Back in high school, I was in class giving a presentation. Halfway through, I mispronounced a word so badly that it sounded like something dirty. The class erupted in laughter. I felt my face heat up like a furnace. I stammered through the rest of it and sat down, convinced my reputation was destroyed forever. For the next 2 weeks, I avoided eye contact, avoided speaking in class, avoided existing. Then one day, I heard the same group of students laughing hysterically about something else, Some guy spilled juice all over himself. That's when it hit me. They weren't still thinking about my blunder. The spotlight had moved on. I was the only one clinging to it. That lesson stuck with me. The world forgets fast. People are like goldfish with Wi-Fi. They can't hold on to anything longer than a few scrolls. Stop replaying the tape. The moment you catch yourself reliving a humiliation, remind yourself, nobody else cares as much as I do. Shift the spotlight. If you mess up, don't dwell. Move the energy forward. Make a joke. Switch the topic. Keep things flowing. People follow your lead. Remember human nature. Everyone's too wrapped up in their own insecurities to focus on yours. The same way you're not thinking about someone else's blunders from last week, they're not thinking about yours either. Treat it as content. Instead of shame, turn it into a story. Self-deprecating humor not only kills the tension, but makes people respect your confidence. If you accept that people forget fast, you stop overvaluing their opinion. You realize humiliation isn't a life sentence, it's a moment, and that moment only has power if you keep dragging it around. Think of a man walking with a pebble in his shoe. It's tiny, but if he refuses to shake it out, it'll ruin his whole journey. That's what humiliation is. It's not heavy unless you carry it forever. As men, we sometimes treat humiliation like it's the end of our identity. One wrong move in public, and we feel stripped of our masculinity. But here's the truth. No one else is measuring you that harshly. That embarrassing mistake you think defines you, it doesn't. A real man doesn't cling to yesterday's humiliation. He shrugs it off, learns from it, and moves forward. Because strength isn't in avoiding humiliation. It's in refusing to let it own you. The world forgets fast. If you don't, you'll be left behind, stuck in a moment. Everyone else already scrolled past. So the next time you're humiliated, don't spiral, don't overthink, and don't give it more life than it deserves. Smile, shake it off, and keep moving. Because the truth is, nobody's watching you as closely as you think. They've already forgotten. And that's your permission slip to forget too. 4. Stand tall. Even if you're shaking, let's be brutally honest. Most of us crumble the second humiliation hits. Your face flushes red, your chest tightens, your body language folds in on itself like a cheap lawn chair. And the humiliator, oh, they smell that weakness. They see your shoulders slump, your eyes drop, your confidence leaking out of your pores, and they know they've won. Here's the controversial truth. The moment humiliation lands, people don't judge the insult. They judge your reaction. You can be completely terrified inside, heart pounding like a drum solo. But if you stand tall on the outside, you flip the entire narrative. Confidence, even faked confidence, is more powerful than the insult itself. Humiliation is theater. It's a performance designed to make the crowd laugh at you, not with you. And like any performance, the audience is watching for cues. If you hunch over, shrink, or lash out, you've told them, yes, I deserve this role as the clown. But if you stand tall, chest open, chin high, even when you're trembling inside, you send a different signal. I am not broken. People won't remember the insult. They'll remember how you carried yourself. I'll never forget a moment back in university. I was presenting in front of a packed lecture hall. Halfway through, my laptop froze, my slides disappeared, and one guy from the back yelled, "Bro, even your computer hates your ideas." The room erupted in laughter. Inside, I was dying. My hands were sweating so bad, I could barely hold the mouse. My legs felt like they were about to collapse, but I forced myself to stand tall, shoulders back, and I said with a smile, "Well, at least my computer has taste." It didn't crash during his last presentation. The laughter flipped instantly. I walked out of that room shaking, but on the outside, I looked composed. People still remember the comeback, not the humiliation. That day I realized, standing tall, even when you're falling apart inside, is the difference between being the punchline and being respected. Control your body first, straighten your posture, plant your feet, keep your chin level. Even if your heart is racing, your body language tells the crowd you're unshaken. Breathe before speaking. Take one deep breath before you respond. That pause can be the difference between looking desperate and looking composed. Smile, but not weakly. A small, confident smirk communicates control. A nervous laugh communicates surrender. Learn the difference. Don't rush to defend yourself. When you rush, you look guilty. When you take your time, you look powerful. Fake it until it becomes real. Confidence isn't always natural. It's practiced. The more you stand tall under fire, the more natural it becomes. Here's where I'll get controversial. Too many men confuse ego explosions with strength. They think puffing their chest, shouting, or throwing fists makes them look powerful when humiliated. Wrong. That's weakness disguised as aggression. Real strength is standing tall when you're trembling inside. It's controlling your body when everything in you wants to collapse. It's not about pretending you're fearless. It's about choosing not to show your fear. As men, humiliation often feels like an attack on our manhood. Someone disrespects us in public, and we feel stripped of dignity. But here's the deeper truth. Dignity isn't given by others. It's maintained by us. Standing tall, even when you're shaking, is an act of self-respect. It says, you can throw your insults, you can try to embarrass me, but you cannot break my posture or my presence. That's masculine strength. Not the loud kind that swings fists, but the quiet kind that stands unshaken in the storm. Think of a soldier standing guard. He might be terrified on the inside, but his posture says, I'm still here, I'm not moving. That's what standing tall really is. It's signaling resilience, not fear. So the next time humiliation hits and your knees want to buckle, remember this. Nobody can see your thoughts, but everyone can see your posture. If you stand tall, even while shaking, you've already won, because the world doesn't respect the man who never feels fear. The world respects the man who feels it, owns it, and still stands tall anyway. 5. Remember, dignity beats popularity. Here's the ugly truth. Most people sell their dignity cheap, for laughs, for applause, for approval. They'll play the clown, betray themselves, or bow to the crowd just to be liked. But here's the catch. Popularity is fickle. Dignity is permanent. You can be the funniest guy in the room, the life of the party, the guy who gets cheered when he humiliates himself for others' amusement. But when you go home, alone, and look in the mirror, do you respect the man staring back at you? That's the real scoreboard. And here's the controversial part. If you always choose popularity over dignity, you will never be respected. People will laugh with you when you clown yourself, but deep down they'll never take you seriously. Humiliation thrives in crowds. People humiliate others because they want the crowd's attention, the cheap dopamine hit of laughs. And too often men respond by playing along, thinking, if I laugh with them, maybe I won't look so bad. Wrong. That's not strength, that's surrender. Respect doesn't come from making everyone laugh. Respect comes from showing that you value yourself more than the approval of the crowd. I'll give you one from my own life. Back in high school, I was at a party. A group of guys thought it'd be hilarious to joke about me liking a girl in the room. They kept pushing. Go on, confess. Come on, say it. Everyone was watching. I could have played along, laughed at myself, and given them a show that would have made me popular for about 5 minutes. Instead, I looked at them, smiled, and said, "I'm not here to be your entertainment." Then I changed the subject. Dead silence. The guys were annoyed. They didn't get their laugh, but a few people came up to me later and said, "Bro, respect. You didn't let them clown you." I wasn't the funniest guy in the room that night. I wasn't the most liked, but I walked out with my dignity intact. And here's the kicker. That same girl they tried to humiliate me over, she respected me more because I didn't fold. Pause before playing along. When people make you the butt of the joke, ask yourself, am I laughing with them or at myself? Don't sell yourself short for cheap laughs. Set boundaries without explaining. A calm "nah, not doing that" is more powerful than a long explanation. Confidence is in brevity. Redefine respect. Stop chasing the roar of the crowd. Popularity fades. Respect laughs. Pick dignity in public, even at the cost of awkwardness. Silence might feel heavy in the moment, but people remember who stood tall. Invest in long-term value. Dignity builds a reputation over time. Popularity burns out as soon as the next clown shows up. Men are wired to want status, and in modern times, status often looks like attention, laughs, or social approval. But here's the controversial angle. Attention is not respect. A man dancing for approval might get claps, but he's still dancing for scraps. Dignity, on the other hand, is when you refuse to sell yourself, even if it means standing alone. That's real status. That's the kind of strength men admire, and women quietly notice. As men, we often fear losing the crowd. We fear being labeled boring, serious, or too stiff. But the reality is, the world already has enough clowns. What it doesn't have enough of are men who value themselves enough to say, "You can laugh without me, but you won't laugh at me." Dignity isn't about arrogance, it's about self-respect. When you put dignity first, people might not always like you, but they'll always know where you stand. And that creates a quiet, unshakable power. Because here's the truth, popularity can put you in the spotlight for a season, but dignity keeps you standing when the spotlight moves on. So the next time you're tempted to laugh along while someone humiliates you, remember this: applause fades, but self-respect doesn't. Choose dignity, even if it costs you the crowd. Because at the end of the day, the man who chases popularity entertains the room. The man who protects his dignity commands it. At the end of the day, humiliation is a test. It's life asking you, are you going to let other people write your story? Or are you going to hold the pen yourself? Most men fold. Most men sell their dignity for cheap approval. And most men let one insult define their self-worth. But you don't have to. Here's the truth. People will laugh, they'll mock, they'll point fingers, but the world doesn't remember the insult. It remembers how you carried yourself when it landed. You can walk away respected or walk away broken. That choice is yours. So stand tall, guard your dignity, and never trade self-respect for a couple of fake claps from the crowd. Because popularity makes you liked for a moment, but dignity makes you respected for life. If you found value in this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. And hey, don't forget, if you want deeper, unfiltered insights every single week, sign up for my free newsletter using the link in the description. Every Sunday I drop lessons, stories, and truths that'll help you level up in a world that's constantly trying to tear you down. And if you're a brand looking to sponsor content that actually makes an impact instead of just noise, my email's in the description. Let's build something powerful together. Until next time, remember this: you can't stop people from trying to humiliate you, but you can stop them from succeeding.